The time has come. What some people have called the quote-unquote most important stock on earth, Nvidia has just reported earnings and the stock is doing pretty good so far in after hours. In this video, we're going to dive deep into this report because it is one of the most important earnings releases that the market has had in quite a while, but we're also going to talk about some other good setups and opportunities for tomorrow and some other important things to know about. But with that being said, Tom, we've been waiting all week for this moment, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, the overall market today was pretty slow, right? We saw the SPY kind of just go flat, and then it actually fell down. But as the market closed, I think that the bulls started really rushing in, and they kind of had a feeling that Nvidia's earnings were going to end up being good, right? That move to the upside into close was great. Now that Nvidia reported, they're doing awesome, up to 727, almost 728 in after hours, well back above 700. So that was a good jump here, Mike, and man, the earnings are looking pretty hot.
Oh yeah, let's look at this week's earnings calendar. There's one clear star of the show, Nvidia. I had to do a little bit of like some Photoshop magic, but it's also kind of realistic. Looking at Nvidia's earnings on a deeper level, basically they grew their revenue by 265% year over year, so just a little bit, but no, that's a lot. They also beat on revenue, they beat on their EPS, and they're doing really good, you know, and the stock is doing good so far in after hours. But as we know with earnings and just big volatile tech stocks in general, we'll have to see if this can hold up.
Yeah, the EPS beat, the revenue beat expectations. I guess it depends on which analyst you're looking at, but man, it ended up beating the LSEG expectation there, so that's great. The EPS was up. They reported great growth. I mean, like you said, Mike, that's definitely no slouch of a number. Name me another company that has 265% revenue growth year over year. I bet it'd be pretty hard for most people to pick one off the top of their head, right? That is some insane growth, and this stock has been moving in an insane way because they've been looking for this good growth, right? And it's starting to move back up. It's right around recent highs. The recent all-time high on this is right around like 745. So realistically, are we going to get up there tomorrow and break 745? We'll have to see, but it's great to see it moving above 700, and these are great numbers. I know the bulls were celebrating tonight in after hours in Discord, and man, I can't blame them, right? If you were long this, you're going to be jumping up and down with joy as long as it stays this high into tomorrow. I will say, Mike, when it first came out, it started falling down a little bit. I got worried off the bat, but good thing the bulls came in and pushed it higher.
There we go. So like you said, the all-time high for this stock is right around like the $745 area. If we get back to that level and it starts to move with some real power, then this thing can definitely have some legs to it. But at the same time, if it struggles towards some of these higher levels, that would be a little bit of a warning sign. And it still does have a decent amount of resistance overhead. So keep a close eye on this one for tomorrow. As we always say, earnings are super crazy and the stocks can turn instantly. So keep a close eye on it. But you already know, like, the entire market will be watching and probably trading this stock come tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they definitely will, and I know one trader that is happy as hell with Nvidia's earnings tonight, and that is Nancy Pelosi, guys. Remember, she bought those 50 call options at the 120 strike with the expiration date of 12/20/24, right? It was a lot of money thrown into that play. I've heard she's already been up, by $1 million or so. Will this make it even better? Hopefully it does. We'll have to see how the implied volatility and everything shakes up. But man, Mike, we're going to have to see what Nancy's up to because I don't know. When are they going to open up an investigation, right?
Never, Tom. But anyways, so yeah, keep a close eye on Nvidia for tomorrow. But on a much less exciting note, there was also an FOMC minutes report today, and this did move the markets a little bit, but the main thing you need to know is that the Fed officials basically said, like, yeah, we're not like too eager to lower rates anytime soon because if we do that and inflation stays high, that can be a huge problem. So they're like, we're going to hold off just a little bit, which is the smartest thing to do anyways. But the main thing to know is that, like, a lot of, the market itself was just expecting the Federal Reserve to cut rates and to keep this money printing euphoric market just keep, just continuing higher. And the Feds are just basically like, we could cut rates, but we just have to do it slower than everyone originally expected. And, it didn't scare the market too much, but at the same time, the market didn't love the news in the moment. But after NVIDIA's earnings, the market got over that FOMC news pretty quickly.
Yeah, it really did. And I think that the Federal Reserve, I don't think that they were even expecting that the market would be up this much by now, right? And let alone, everybody else. Like, I really doubt that they thought that, the economy be doing this good. Not even the economy, but necessarily maybe just the market. But it's very important to see those FOMC minutes and to see what the Feds are talking about. So good thing we hit on that. But man, Mike, it seems like, we started falling down a little bit after that came out. The market just went choppy, then fell down. But now with these earnings, like you said, it just blasted right back up. Man, like, are we going to go back on the big uptrend? I think that's the big question everybody's looking for in the short term. And there's still some huge resistances overhead. SPY's not the all-time highs yet. We still got to look at 403.50.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited, though, for tomorrow because if you remember when Meta reported earnings, that was another big tech stock that reported recently on February 2nd. Obviously the stock just ripped to the upside, but that entire trading day was pretty awesome, and there were a lot of big moves in both direction and a lot of opportunities all around. So we might see something like that tomorrow. The main thing is that there's just like volatility on the rise, and what's cool is that for this week, we don't have to wait around for an inflation report or anything crazy like that. In terms of the economic schedule, we're in the clear. In terms of major earnings, we're in the clear now. So it's just all good price action from here on out. And of course, we have the real earnings calendar right here where it shows that, there are a couple stocks reporting tomorrow, like Moderna and Block and, a couple other stocks like that. But realistically, those stocks aren't going to make or break the market.
Yeah, they're really not. And I mean, they might have huge moves in their own right, but at the end of the day, nothing like NVIDIA tonight. I really like our other earnings calendar, Mike. I think that really that really sets the tone for earnings this week. And we'll have to see what earnings are coming out next week. Even next week should be fairly interesting. But yeah, there's just so many good stocks here moving up in after hours. I hope that we see some good continuations. And I know that we've talked a little bit lately about maybe UVXY and a couple others. Looks like that is starting to fall off quite a bit in after hours. So, just be a little careful, right? The market's not necessarily tanking right now. So, it's kind of just going the opposite way, right? So just be a little bit careful on this. I still think, though, that over the next couple weeks, UVXY could end up being great.
Exactly. And as we look at some of the seasonality charts, as we've said nonstop over the past couple days or week or so, seasonally, we are in a weak time for the market, but that doesn't mean the market has to fall off a cliff. It'll be easier for the market to fall right now compared to other times, but if NVIDIA goes for all-time highs, then it's going to be hard to stop those bulls there. But at the same time, it's still a little bit too early to tell. The market has been weaker than normal lately, but I think the main thing going into tomorrow, just like many days over the past month, is to just be adaptable. If NVIDIA rockets up, then awesome. Take advantage of that upwards momentum. At the same time, if the stock pulls the old legendary Uno reverse card on us and tanks down, then be willing to adapt and, ride that downwards pressure too. But overall, enough talk about NVIDIA and the market. Let's get into some setups for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching very closely right now is ExxonMobil. I've been talking about this stock quite a bit over the past couple of weeks, and while it's not as exciting as something like NVIDIA or AMD or Tesla or anything like that, it does have some really good price action, and its options move up a lot more than you think. The stock was up about 2% today, and its options popped up by 200%. So that's a pretty good move on the option side of things. So either way, ExxonMobil's been moving pretty good lately, and I can definitely see the trend continuing. I would like to see a break above $105.15, just as a little bit of extra confirmation.
Yeah, that is a huge spot, Mike. I know that I've been watching that 105 level for quite a while. We keep projecting there, and I think it's actually set to have a breakout here in the short term. And if we see that, it'll be a great opportunity. So I love the setup, Mike. Let's go. With my first play tomorrow, I'm looking at Coinbase to the upside. It started bouncing off of support here in after hours, right around 162. We're getting some good momentum back. If we can get above 170 tomorrow, I'll be watching for a recovery on this. Nvidia's up in after hours, and I think that Bitcoin and, just stocks in general, cryptos, anything in that like AI/tech industry will start to follow that. And we're seeing that in after hours so far with coin.
So basically what you're saying is the industries with some hype to them. You said the cryptos, the AI stocks, big tech stocks, anything that gets the hype.
100%. And whenever I see Coinbase, I mean, this stock has some pretty big moves. Like if it was down today 6%, and now in after hours, I mean, this move is already pretty big. So like from close to where it is now, it's up like 3.75%. So yeah, we're seeing good moves across the board, and hopefully this volatility continues.
There we go. All right, another stock I'm watching pretty closely is BABA, and it's to the upside. So Chinese stocks are like at like a very weird point right now. The Chinese government is doing about everything they can to just somehow, some way get their stocks to go up. And it's kind of working a little bit in the short term, but not really too much yet. And either way, Chinese stocks kind of do whatever they want compared to the overall market. They just move by themselves. And Alibaba had a pretty good move today, but nothing too crazy as of yet. But normally when we do see moves like this, BABA does continue afterwards, right? So I am watching BABA to the upside for tomorrow. A lot of times the action happens in pre-market, but there have been many, many occasions where you will see like a slight gap up with Alibaba stock and then a continuation throughout the rest of the day. So I'm looking for that setup on BABA tomorrow, and I would love to see a break above like that $76.40 area.
Yeah, that would be a nice spot, right above that intraday resistance. And I think China stocks in the short term could be awesome. I'm not even a big China stock fan over the long run just because of their risk. But I will say, the short term, I think that they're looking pretty good off support. And with like what you said about the Chinese government doing what they are, it's a big deal as well. So I'll keep it on the radar. And with my next play, I'm looking at CVS. It did pretty well today. Don't mind that print there in after hours, but it's getting up to around resistance in the short term. 77.50, 77.60 is a big spot. If it can break above there, I'll be looking for another recovery. It has weak correlation to the SPY. So that's one thing I really like about this. And when you zoom out on the daily, you can really see how it's been consolidating for a few days. And I'm looking for that good move off support to finally break out of this zone.
All right, sounds good. Well, it's now about that time for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have GLD to the upside.
Yeah, again, gold. Go ahead and make it break 188.15. It was like the high of pre-market. And if we break there, watch those calls.
All right, with the next one, we have Meta to the downside. And this stock was showing a little bit of weakness today, but it ended up holding up just fine.
Yeah, of course, with NVIDIA, right? But it had a pretty bad move overall. If it falls under 462 tomorrow, right under that low of day, then go ahead and look at puts. I'll say this, though. We're going to have to see a pretty hard turnaround.
All right, sounds good. And with the last one, we have a stock that everyone used to know and love, and that's Tesla. But all the hype and fame has now transferred on to NVIDIA. But anyways, looking at Tesla for tomorrow, we have both directions on this one, Tom.
Yeah, so there's a pretty big high of day from yesterday and this morning. So if we can get above there at $200, then go ahead and look at calls. It's moving up pretty well here in after hours. That's going to be a big spot overhead in the morning. Now, if it falls back under 191, then look at puts. That's just under the low of day, and that would be a nice safe spot.
All right, so we have the downside level for puts, and we have the upside level for calls. This is for Tesla. Don't forget about the downside level for Meta, and then the upside level for GLD. These three stocks are on watch tomorrow. If they break the levels Tom listed, we want to see strong, powerful breaks through these levels, and then continuations in that direction. But looking at tomorrow, Tom, the market is at quite the interesting point. It's still very close to all-time highs. NVIDIA is doing pretty well in after hours so far, and we're in the absolute worst 2-week stretch of the entire year for the market. One thing that's for sure is volatility is here. It's here to stay, and it's probably only going to increase over the next couple days and weeks. And that's what's important, right? Screw the direction in the short term. It doesn't matter which way the market goes, right? As long as you're willing to adapt. But what's exciting is that the movement we're actually seeing is good. Like this type of price action is a lot easier to trade as like a short-term trader compared to market environments where the market is going up or down by 0.001% each day, right? Like no one likes that at all, but it's like we're seeing good moves right now. So guys, definitely be ready to strike because the volatility is probably only going to increase in the short term.
Yeah, it's looking really good here short term, and I love to see the overall market continuing up like this. And Mike, I saw NVIDIA got right to that all-time high in after hours. I mean, it was right there, bouncing like literally right on the all-time high. If it continues up anymore, it's going to be making a new one. So keep your eyes on that 745, 746 level. If it breaks there, we could see another continuation possibly tomorrow. Kind of like you mentioned with Meta, right? Meta had earnings last week, and then they continued on that really good run, or a couple weeks ago, and then they had that great continuation on the day after. So keep your eyes on these big stocks. They're starting to move with some good velocity. I know that they seem really overextended, but for the short term, there's always that opportunity up still, and obviously be careful tomorrow. If you do decide, don't buy in whenever stocks are too high, right? Like if you are late and you miss the move early on, don't try to jump in at like the high of day. Be a little careful out there.
Alrighty, and then one last thing is we have to cover today's big money trade of the day, and that is with a ticker symbol that most people have probably never heard of before, and that is RNA. But sometimes these end up making for the best big money plays because they are, easier to get a gauge on from the big money's perspective. For example, it's a lot easier to get some really good insight on a smaller company like RNA compared to like a giant, multi-trillion-dollar company like Apple. But anyways, basically we have the big money bullish on RNA. More specifically, they bought a call debit spread. They bought the 15 strike calls that expire on March 15th of 2024, and they shorted the 20 strike calls that expire on March 15th of 2024. They put around $665,000 into this trade, and if you don't know how spreads work or you just want to make your life easy, they're betting that the stock will go up. In a perfect world, they want it, higher than $20 a share, but they will also make money if it's a little bit over $16 a share. So keep a close eye on this one going forward. It has been trending in a great way over the past couple months, and it's one of those crazy biotech stocks.
Yeah, it's pretty good looking. I mean, honestly, it's been recovering up quite a bit lately, well up over 100%. Let's get the percentage from the low there to where it is now. At the high anyways, it was something close to right around 200%. So a great move by RNA already this year, and if it continues to break these highs, that'll be awesome. I noticed it's getting pretty close to resistance, but seems like it's continuing to push those highs of days. So keep your eyes on this. It's a pretty interesting call debit spread, and there's not too much time left on this, so it'll be a nice short-term play.
Yeah, so this is one of those crazy ones. So if you can't handle the heat, then get out of the kitchen. It is a volatile stock. Basically, any biotech stock is. So just keep that in mind going forward. And then also, we do have a live event tonight. So if you are a member of the StockedUp trading floor, come join us tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to join the live event, you can. Basically, we do these live events every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. You can chat with Tom and myself. You can ask questions. We can talk about setups. These live events are always a great time, and they're one of my favorite parts of the week. So come join us. It'll be that first link in the description and the comments down below. And then I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, which is Kid California, who's been doing pretty good this week. He came back after a little bit of a break, and so far, he's doing great. So keep up the great work, Kid California, and we'd love to see even more gains in the future.
Yeah, it's awesome, Kid California. Have a fantastic day tomorrow as well. Glad to have you back. And yeah, let's keep up the great work here. Don't forget about that live Q&A tonight, guys. That's going to be awesome. Submit your questions in the event information channel.
There we go. Well, thank you all for watching. Volatility's here, and that's all you can ask for as a short-term trader. Keep some close eyes on Nvidia for tomorrow. It's the star of the market right now. There's going to be a lot of action with it. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's have an amazing rest of the week.